The topic this month is KPI dashboards for product managers. This has been a really popular and highly requested topic from our customers. And now it is my pleasure to introduce you to our experienced presenter for today's tutorial, Kristina Gass. Kristina is a product concierge manager here at AHA, and she uses her background in customer support and product management to help our customers manage their own products. So if you've been using AHA for a while, you may have had the pleasure of working with her before. And Kristina is a reporting whiz, so she will be a great resource for you to learn about dashboards from. And with that, I will pass it over to you, Kristina.
Thanks, Rose, and thanks to everyone for joining today. I'm happy to be here to share dashboards with you. So as product managers, we know that we need to track a lot of data in order to better understand and communicate our team's progress and successes. In order to do that, we often need more than just a single view. Dashboards have been an amazing addition to AHA to help with this. So you can bring together multiple views like roadmaps, list reports, pivot tables, and charts to monitor everything from overall strategy to visualizing underlying work. Dashboards allow complete control over how you organize and share your team's progress. So today we'll take a look at 3 different dashboards for common PM use cases. We'll start with building a strategic dashboard for evaluating the progress of major business initiatives. This will be a great one to share with your leadership team. Then we'll work on a futures dashboard to track delivery metrics and see how the team is performing. This is a good view for discussing progress with the teams that you work with closely, like engineering. And lastly, we'll take a look at an ideas dashboard for analyzing customer feedback. This can be a helpful way to evaluate new ideas that are coming in, who they're assigned to, and how quickly the team is shipping. So we want to be thinking about who's here with us today on the tutorial so that we can share tips that'll be relevant regardless of your experience level. I'd love to know how many of you attending have created a dashboard and how many of you are brand new to dashboards. We've just launched a poll, and go ahead and select if you have or have not built a dashboard within AHA yet. We'll give you a moment to make your selections, and then we'll see the results. All right. It looks like we have a good mix of folks that have given dashboards a try, and many of you are brand new to the functionality. So today, for beginners, you'll learn how to create a new dashboard from a blank slate for the very first time. And for those of you that have dabbled in dashboards previously, we'll get into new functionality and show you a few tips on how you can finesse your dashboards. So as we're going through this, there are 3 key concepts that'll be helpful for building out any type of dashboard within AHA. And you can think of this as the 3 Ps for panels, polish, and present. So we'll start with panels as the first step because adding report panels is how you start building out your actual dashboard views. Our customers really love the ability to build dashboards, and one of the biggest requests that we received was for the ability to add in additional report views as dashboard panels. At this point, you can add just about any saved view to a dashboard, with more recent additions, including the strategy and Gantt chart, the features workflow board, calendar views, and the dependency report. For our second step, we'll cover how to polish your dashboard to bring important metrics into focus by adjusting panel layouts and views. You can now use text panels to organize your dashboard into sections and add annotations to your dashboard. And lastly, we'll talk about how you can present or share your dashboard if you decide to do so. So we've heard that people love sharing dashboards. We've spent time building out filters to make it even easier to enable your stakeholders to slice data in order to monitor things like KPIs across multiple workspaces from the same view. We've also improved panel settings, so you can decide if you want to keep dashboard filters or use local report filters to keep the data in sync. I'll cover how you can make the most out of all of these improvements as we build out our 3 dashboards today. So all of the views and reports that you'll see are based off of underlying reporting views and roadmaps that are already in AHA, which is a great place to start. So reports are really the building blocks of any dashboard. To help, we've provided more than 75 different example reports to get you started. You can find these by going to Roadmaps Overview and then clicking on the example reports here. You'll see that the views are categorized by record types or by report types. Or, of course, you can always build your own custom reports from scratch. When you're first starting out with building dashboards, a great approach is to consolidate several related reports that you've already saved. But if you haven't gotten that far, for anyone that's new to building reports in AHA, it's really no big deal. You can build a report either by the reports overview page, clicking this create report option, or by selecting this plus button and going down to report. This report builder will walk you through the logical steps to build views. And what's really helpful is you can either start with a specific record type, or you can start with a specific report layout, which will end up dictating the type of visual that you can build. It's important to note that you can't break anything by playing around here, so definitely click around, generate different report views if this is new to you. If you have a specific view that you'd like to build, our customer success team is here to help with suggestions or recommendations. Just reach out to support@aha.io and we'll go from there. If you haven't spent much time with reporting, I do recommend watching some of our prior reporting tutorials. We have both beginner and advanced sessions that you can watch on demand. We'll link those in our chat, so be sure to bookmark those for later. With all of that covered, let's go ahead and get started. So I mentioned our first dashboard view will be to show how we're tracking against our strategic initiatives that we've set for the year. This will be a great view to share with executive stakeholders to provide updates on progress. And as we just discussed, since reports and roadmaps are really the building blocks of dashboards, we'll start there with our first step of panels. So here you'll see that I'm pulling up my strategic roadmap for 2024. We know that strategy roadmaps are really great for showing us our initiatives and the underlying work. I also want to show how goals are connected and dig into additional initiative details. That data is presented across multiple views today. However, I know that I can use dashboards to consolidate those views into a single source so that it's easier for my stakeholders to see the detail, understand the picture, and quickly get context. So once I select the share menu, you'll see that I have the option to add this to a dashboard. And when this opens, I can either add this specific report as a panel to an existing dashboard, or I can create a brand new dashboard. In this case, we'll go ahead and create a new dashboard. I'll follow this link to open that up, and now I can continue building. When I first open this up, the dashboard title will default to the date and time that the dashboard was created. That's not super helpful, so I clicked on the title of the dashboard and I'll update the name. Once I've done that, I'm now ready to start to add in additional views that I've already saved. So here, I'll go to my Add Panel option. I'll select my Use Existing Report, and my first view I'll add in will be my Features Planned by Initiatives chart. This will show how our planned work is dispersed across themes. In this case, you'll see that we can see the size of initiatives based on the associated features. So for example, enhanced activity tracking and localization are likely our largest initiatives or themes. I'd like to add another panel, and this time I'll choose the initiatives budget list report. This view will provide some more specifics around the planned cost for each of my initiatives. In this view, we're utilizing worksheet fields to help us capture the total cost. So as we add those panels, you'll see that they're added vertically. We'll adjust that once we get into our next step of polish. But before we go there, I wanted to mention that you can add up to 20 different report panels on a single dashboard. Usually though, depending on report contents, it's best to stick between 3 and 7 panels as a pretty good number, so that you aren't having too much data or too much scrolling for your stakeholders. One of the things you might have noticed as I was adding my panels is that you have the option to either create copies or use the original view of your reports. In this case, I've stuck with the default option to create copies of the reports within my dashboard. But what that allows me to do is that I can utilize dashboard filters. So for example, if I were to add in workspace name, I can toggle between different workspaces and the data that's on my panels will update based off of that. So I have a nice collection of data showing both high-level summaries along with more detailed views. I can move on to my polish step to really adjust the layout. So for polishing the dashboard, I can drag my panels around to rearrange them in the order that I think makes the most sense and look the best. So I've dragged 2 panels over to the right. It's looking pretty good, but I do have some extra real estate. And right now my visuals are really focused on initiatives. I'd like to bring in some more of my goal data. I can go up to my add panels here. And in this case, I'm going to choose this goal status. This will add in a list report that shows me all of my goals across this specific product. Now, if I wanted to, I can open up this report and I can isolate or select which time frame that I'm actually showing those goals for. So here, I'll go in, I'll add a filter for my goal and select goal time frame. Once I select a specific time frame, we'll see that my list is updated. One of the important things to remember if you're editing panels is that you do need to save changes if you'd like to see them reflected on your dashboard. On this panel or dashboard, we can see that this is being used within our Fredwin strategic dashboard. So here I'll close this out. I'll give this a refresh and we'll see that my panel has been updated. So with that, our polish is complete and we can move on to presenting. We've added in the main strategy reports that our team shares with executive stakeholders so that everyone can check on progress at any time. We'll click on this title to open up the dashboard details. And here we have a few options around sharing. So the first is that I can decide who I want to share this dashboard with internally. In this case, this is a big picture view and almost everyone would be interested. So I'll share this with my entire line. Next, I can decide the editing permissions. In this case, I'm going to keep this as view only so that no one inadvertently changes my positioning or adds in anything extra. From there, I'm going to save this view. From there, I can go to the share icon and I can decide how I want to share this out with my stakeholders. You'll see that we have a few different options, including the ability to add this into a presentation. We could move this into a web page, or we could even download this as a PNG or PDF file. In this case, I'm going to share this as a web page. This is super helpful because it means that I can share this potentially with folks that aren't in my AHA account. When I open up this report, you'll see all of the detail that we've added into our dashboard. We can hover over some of the information to get more detail, and we can scroll both horizontally and vertically. As work progresses, the details will reflect those changes that are made within the account automatically. One of the things that you might have noticed on this Share as Web Page option is that we do have the option to allow for drill-in. We'll see what this looks like when we look at our ideas dashboard in a few minutes. So now that we've built out the strategic dashboard, we'll take a look at what the features team is working on in support of our strategy. So first, I'll navigate to the roadmaps dashboard area. And here we'll find any dashboards that I've created or that have been shared with me within my workspace. You can also see that you can create a brand new dashboard from scratch by selecting this Create New Dashboard option. When we first built out our strategy dashboard, we started from a report, but you can also just start from scratch here as well. So I've already started working on my features dashboard. So I'll just go ahead and open that here for us to take a look at. So first on the panel step, you'll see that we have 3 different panels related to feature delivery. The first is a features workflow board, where we can see in detail how the team is progressing with each of our features that have been assigned. Next, you'll see that we have a chart of features to view our planned feature volume for the year. This will continue to fill out as we add in more features to our board. And lastly, we have a Gantt chart, which allows us to zero in on release details and view dependencies along with risk. This view is great for gauging progress on cross-functional work with teams like engineering and referencing with other product managers. One of the really nice things about dashboards is that they can definitely save time. So today, if you're not using dashboards, you'd have to open up each of these reports individually, talk through them with your team, and separately come to some conclusions. Now you can add all of those different aspects into a single view so you can really and quickly, easily get the context. We can instantly see, for example, how the team is performing and if there are potential issues that need to be addressed. And of course, dashboards are interactive, so I can look more closely, in this case, at an individual feature. So say I'm curious what this find friends while riding feature involves. I can open that and see all of the details around what we're planning to create. You'll also notice that within this view, we've added in one of our user flow diagrams so I can really understand more about what we're planning to deliver. We can also go in and expand and contract the details that we're showing. So for example, on the Gantt chart, I can expand and see more about the cross-functional dependencies and timelines. From here, we'll move on to our polish step to talk about what you can do with these panels to spiff them up and make them more useful for people that are viewing your dashboard. So we can edit the panels by clicking on the ellipses in the top corner. Once we do that, we'll see the edit panel open. And here we have a few options. So first, you'll notice that you can update the title of your panels. By default, this will be the report name, but you can definitely customize this. Next, you can edit the panel to include legends so that you can give a little bit more context about what we're showing. And lastly, we can decide if we'll use dashboard filters or not. So say if you want one panel to always show the same data and not be impacted by changes that aren't made directly on the underlying report, we can deselect or select this here. So as a reminder, from the Customize Report option, we can also edit the actual panel view, just like we did when we edited the goal status filters. We'll take a look at how to do that for this features volume chart. So here I have my chart open, and I can do things like start to further customize the way that my colors are displayed. So for example, let's say that I want this to more closely match my brand colors. I can make those updates. And as long as I save the changes, when I go back to my features delivery dashboard, I can refresh and instantly see those updates here. So for the next step in the polish area, we'll go through the steps to add a text panel. So in this case, I'm going to be adding in an annotation about my Gantt view. You'll notice that I now have the ability to start to type in text. So here I'll place in some detail, and I want to call out a new release dependency to be aware of. I really want to make sure that my team looks at this note. So I'm going to wrap this in a call out warning box. I'll quickly resize this and place it next to my Gantt view so that everyone's aware that there's something to take a look at. So with that, our polish step is complete. We have all of the same sharing options available that we just covered in our strategy dashboard. But this dashboard is one that I'd mainly use within AHA. So instead, I'm actually going to link to this within my product team meeting notes so that when we go to have that meeting, we can discuss this live, take a look at how the features are progressing, and review dependencies together. So this is a sample note that I have, and you'll see that link right here. So now that we have a good view of strategic progress and feature delivery, we'll take a look at another important area to measure so that we're really looking at the full life cycle of product development. And that's understanding how the customer feedback that we're receiving is being actioned upon. So dashboards are obviously a great tool for analyzing all sorts of product data. And this is really nicely illustrated with ideas, where you can add different variables to analyze idea delivery and trends. Of course, if you're familiar with ideas, you've already seen the ideas overview page, which gets you started by automatically surfacing ideas for you to manage. But with dashboards, you can customize variables to analyze idea delivery and feedback trends. This is a great way to share what you've already shipped for customers lately and which product areas are most important for your team to focus on in the future. In this case, we're going to do something a bit differently, and we'll look at this final dashboard from the perspective of one of our stakeholders. So I have a shared web page that I'll open for us, and we'll start to take a look at some of the interesting ideas data that we're portraying. So first, in the upper left-hand corner, we have a pivot table with our top ideas and the related customers that have requested them. And because we've enabled record drill down for these organizations, I can click on Arrow Cycle, for example, and instantly see what type of account this is, which of our plans they're on, where they're located, and what the total account revenue is. This data is part of our organizations component, which is included with Ideas Advanced. If this doesn't look familiar, just type in ideas to our Q&A, and we'll share some more details with you. So next, we have a really nice bright chart that's showing our trending idea categories. This allows me to quickly see that activity tracking is a top request from customers. So it's something that we should consider investigating in the future. Below that, we have a line chart that's showing our ideas that have been shipped over the last year. We can see how many customer requests we're delivering on each month and see our high or low points. It looks like we had a really great month in August. Below that, you'll see that we have a list report that's showing the ideas that have been recently shipped as well. So in terms of polish, you can see that the team was really thoughtful in how we've arranged the panels. It's clearly labeled. We've added some great color that are distinctive to our brand. And we have section headers to make it clear for viewers what they're looking at, with the top area being around idea categories and trends, and the bottom area being more around delivery. From a presented experience, it's awesome to be able to self-serve this data and drill into the details at any time. So with that, I hope the dashboards that we've shown today have given you some great inspiration for what you can do with your own product data. We do have a bit of time, so it looks like we probably have some questions to answer. Rose, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, and thank you, Kristina, for that great walkthrough. We definitely have been very busy in the Q&A, and thank you all for your thoughtful questions. We have been able to get through quite a few of them, but I do have a couple that I think we can go into. We got a few questions about that budget report for initiatives. If you want to go back to that dashboard, we can talk about a couple different ways to approach this. I did use worksheets as part of Enterprise Plus when I set up this data, but you could also use custom fields to capture that essential budget information. Kind of just depends on what exactly you need to capture and how you need to manage it. I don't know, Kristina, if you have any additional guidance to give customers with budget data, or maybe you have some customers you've advised on doing this.
Yeah, definitely. So there's different ways that you can think about integrating budgets into your tool, into AHA. If you're looking for a strict number, you can definitely use a custom field. But if you'd like to see a summation based off of associated features or epics, that's where worksheet fields can really come in handy. You can also do like multiplication, subtraction, addition, all of that good stuff directly on the initiative record itself. If that's something that your team is interested in, definitely reach out and we can talk a bit more about how we can apply that within your instance.
And another report, while we're on this dashboard, or another question, someone was wondering about the goal progress for MRR with 15%. Does it use a connection to Salesforce? Not for goals, although that's an interesting idea. That's more for like bringing in opportunity and revenue data and tying it to the ideas. But we just have that goal success metric that you can add to your goal. And then keep track of that there. We did receive some questions on like about workspaces and dashboards too. So Kristina, maybe this would be a good one for you to cover. Is it possible to add reports from multiple workspaces to a dashboard?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have reports that have already been set up, as long as you have access to them, you should be able to see them when you go to that use existing option. This will show reports that have been created across your workspaces.
For filters on dashboards, we had a couple questions for that. Okay, here's a good one. Are dashboard filters universal across all panels? I saw the update to one panel, but also saw the dashboard filter options in that view. Can you explain more about how this works?
Yeah, definitely. So these dashboard filters will apply to all of the panels with one caveat. In that, when you go to edit the panel, you can decide if you're using the dashboard filters or not. If this option is selected, it means that if we were to change like workspaces, for example, all of the detail that's within this panel will also reflect the workspaces that you select. If this is deselected, the report will actually ignore the dashboard filter. So this is really helpful if you're trying to decide, do you want to update based off of those filters, or do you always want to show the data based off of report specific filters?
Great. Okay, thank you. And I think we have time for a couple more here. I do see more coming in, so I'll try to pick a fresh one that we haven't answered yet. This person is asking, this is a great question. What panels or dashboard information do you find common for a product executive view?
Yeah, definitely. So definitely for executive views, it's going to be helpful to give some context around strategy. So I would always start off with something like the strategic roadmap because it lets you lay out like here's where we're trying to go big picture, and then you can dial into the more specific tactical work if that makes sense. You can add in even more views. So this is just a sample of, a sample dashboard that might be useful for your team. If you have a specific use case, we'd love to talk about that more and come up with the views that'll be exactly right for you to showcase. Just reach out to us and we can help with that.
Okay, great, thank you. One more in regards to sharing dashboards, dashboard viewers. This person is wondering, do dashboard viewers also require permissions to view the underlying reports?
Yep. So if you were to share this out as a web page, anyone that you give the link to potentially could have access. If you want those users to be able to see the source data, they would need to either be a reviewer or viewer at least within the account to see that data. So it can get complex, but the short answer is permissions aren't necessarily required in order to view the web page. To view the underlying reports, they need to be able to get into AHA.
Great, thank you. Okay, let's do one more question. It came up a couple times, then we'll wrap up here. So this kind of brings us full circle, Kristina. Is the best practice to create reports first and then build your dashboard? It seems like it would be difficult to build a dashboard with no underlying existing reports.
Absolutely. So my suggestion is always to have a good topic or a good question that you're trying to answer with the dashboard that you build. So if you already have reports built and you're sharing those out individually with stakeholders today, it's easy because you can just consolidate those into a single view. You probably already are answering a question. If you don't have a question yet that's being answered by dashboards, it's good to kind of think through what type of questions am I usually asked, what reports do I think that I would need, and then start to build. You can start with either reports or dashboard first, just depending on where you're at within your cycle of building within AHA.
Yep, that's great advice. And with that, we will wrap it up here. Thank you all for joining us today and your great questions. If we did not get to your question live or in the Q&A, we will follow up with you after this and you'll hear from our customer success team with an email. Like Kristina said, we hope this inspires you to build dashboards and see kind of the art of the possible with them today. And of course, feel free to contact our support team with any further questions at support@aha.io. They will respond to you super fast, and we'll see you next time. Thanks all. Bye.